everyone. This is Lady E, the Traveling Encourager. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you wherever you are in the world. Wow, it's been a little bit since I've done a live video here on Facebook. I believe it's been about 6 or 7 months since I've gone live. So it's good to be back. And today I just thought it would be a good idea for me to come and share something that's really important to me that I think would make sense for people who may not know about my company and why I serve who I serve. And also this whole concept of finding your bliss, which I tend to talk about a lot in my posts and in some of the shares that you may have seen. So I thought it would be a good idea to just break that down a little bit. I see that a couple of people have joined, so I just want to say hello to Ashley and Joshua. Thank you both for joining and welcome. Feel free to comment or ask questions as we go along. But just a little bit of background about my company. Basically, my company is the Traveling Encourager LLC. It's actually a personal development company. A lot of people think of it as a travel company, even though there is a travel component. It's actually a personal development company. And so my company is what I like to call a fusion. It's a fusion of mindset management principles, lifestyle enrichment tools, radical encouragement for global leaders. And so the products and services that I offer sort of reflect all of that. And I kind of wanted to share just a little bit about who I actually serve, because I think it's really important, especially as you're building a company. My company is still very new. I launched it in 2017. As you're going along, sometimes you may not know, like what your market is, and you're trying to find your way. And I'm kind of like that sometimes, trying to find my way, because we know that we can't help everyone, but we do our best, right, as entrepreneurs. And so just a little bit about who I serve. So I serve global leaders who identify as being on an unconventional path, who need empathetic support around the important transitions and decisions of their lives. So, people who are going through some difficult challenges, they need support around that, so that they can find radical fulfillment along their journey. And that's what I do as a traveling encourager, is really try to provide a space, for leaders to find the encouragement that they need. Because look, it's difficult out here to be in entrepreneurship, as many of you may know. Thank you so much, Ashley, who has joined us from Texas. And so I just wanted to mention that. And also, like I said, we do have a travel component. So travel experiences is a big part of what my company has to offer, which is why traveling is in the title of the company. So again, I do this through various products and services. And the reason why Find Your Bliss, this whole concept, is so important to me. I wrote a quote years ago that I have adopted as one of my personal models, but it's not just a personal model. It's actually what I call mindset management principle, and it's one that I like to teach and share with the people I serve. And this quote says, even if you have to reach way down into the depths of your soul, find your bliss. So what I'm suggesting is that no matter what it takes to find your bliss. Now, what does it mean to find your bliss? And for me personally, I believe very strongly in accessing those parts of our lives where clarity, healing, and breakthrough are a challenge. Where we're kind of stuck in those moments where we really do need support around areas where we're blocked. We're just quite simply not sure how to move forward in a certain part of our life. And that is really something that I like to help people with, is to help them find the momentum that they need. And so I like to think about finding your bliss as a time where we're spending time receiving from God, those personal messages that come from a higher power, higher than us, from God. And we need that personal message from Him so that we can basically revive the core of our spirit, so that we can clear the blockages of our mind, so that those messages can minister to our heart. And that to me is what part of Finding Your Bliss really is all about, because we need that message to really penetrate, to really get through to the deeper parts of ourselves. And so through all of these efforts, thank you, Ashley, for that comment about reaching deep, because that's really what this is all about. This is not a shallow, surface level journey, especially as entrepreneurs in particular, because sometimes we feel so alone on this journey, and we just really need something that's going to really help us have the contentment and be secure in that contentment. And so through all of these efforts, I believe that there is a restoration of joy and a restoration of peace, because there are specific healing mechanisms that we can use along this journey of what I call the unconventional path. And so sometimes finding the joy and the peace, it gets a little bit lost in the shuffle, because again, we live in a pressure-inducing society. We live in a stress-inducing society. And when we find ourselves in that type of environment, sometimes it gets a little bit tough, to make the right decision. So in those most difficult moments, there's a turning point, that we have to make. And we need something that can satisfy the deeper inner longings that we have. And it's going to require us to stretch a little bit further than we may feel comfortable with. And so that's just something that I wanted to share with you about Finding Your Bliss. And also, for those who may not know, one of my books, I have 2 books that I've published. One of my books is called Gentle Reminders, Messages of Encouragement for Clarity, Healing, and Breakthrough. I'll show it to you. I love this cover so much. It was designed by good friend Desiree Harris Bonner of DH Bonner Virtual Solutions, LLC. She designed this beautiful cover for me. And I want to read actually a passage real quick from the book, because it really speaks to this topic. So again, I'll read the quote that I read earlier. Even if you have to reach way down into the depths of your soul, find your bliss. And this is really what I want to kind of hone in on for this definition that I'm sharing with you. That your bliss is the location within your consciousness. Your bliss is the location within your consciousness that speaks supernatural peace and contentment to your spirit. Often we get so caught up in desiring the successes of this world that we forget how to master the art of living. So again, because this is a mindset management principle, this whole idea of finding your bliss is about managing the now moments. It's really not about necessarily trying to launch out into the future, trying to basically reach a certain destination. It's not about luxury, it's not about having those material things that we want. Those are external things, but what I'm suggesting is that it really is an internal posturing and positioning that we're trying to achieve. And again, even if you have to reach way down into the depths of your soul, we need to find that, because what's going to happen when we find our bliss? Again, we have the joy that we need. This all comes from on the inside. We have the peace that we need to move forward, on the dreams that God has given us, the purpose that we're called to fulfill. And it's not always easy. I just want to say hello to Rita and also Desiree. I want to say hello to Dana. Thank you so much. And Joshua made a comment that says, stress hinders optimal decision making. Being calm and collected or in bliss will keep your mind clear. That is so true. And thank you for making that point, Joshua, because again, we in our society, one way they look at bliss is it's based on, some sort of financial status, what is your career status, your social status, your family background, your economic background. And what I'm suggesting is that it has nothing to do with any of that. It really is about having the clarity that you need, the mental clarity that you need to make the decisions along your journey. And so the art of living, again, like I was saying earlier, we sometimes forget how to master the art of living. And what I'm suggesting is that the art of living is always built from a platform of appreciation and gratitude. So when we're finding our bliss, what we're doing is we're allowing our mind to go to those places that's going to help us clear those blockages. But also, in order for us to really have the joy that we need, is going to let us remember, what our blessings are. We have so many, right? The fact that we're alive, the fact that we woke up this morning is a huge blessing, because some people did not make it. And so a platform of appreciation and gratitude is really going to help us pull through when we need to make those difficult decisions. And so I hope that that little bit of background kind of helps to explain why I talk about finding your bliss and why it's sort of a theme for a lot of the things that I offer. And also it's a theme for the travel experience that I'm offering for women in transition. So as some of you may have heard, and if you're learning for the first time, that's fine too. But I'll be offering a travel experience in March of 2020 called the Find Your Bliss Escape. And this is going to take place in Kenya. So for those who may not know, I have traveled extensively to Kenya since 2016. I've traveled there 4 times, and I've stayed on the continent for a few months at a time here and there. It's sort of become my second home. So all of the back and forth travel that I've made and the connections that I've made and the projects that I'm working on over there really helped me to put together something that I believe will be very special and transformative, especially for women who are in transition. So let me talk about women in transition just for a minute. What I want to be able to do is walk women through a time of healing in nature. So for those who may not know, I am a huge nature enthusiast. Nature photography is one of my biggest hobbies, something that I do just as a strategy for myself to find healing. And I want this travel experience to really be centered around nature. So we are going to, if you've never been to Kenya, then you may have seen, photos somewhere or heard of people who have traveled to Kenya. What they say is true about the natural beauty. And it's breathtaking, some of the scenery. And I want that to be our backdrop for healing, not just a tourist destination, because this is not a tour. It's not going to be an average retreat. This really is the type of experience where we are going to completely immerse ourselves, not only in the nature, but in the healing work that we're going to be doing as a collective group of women. So I want to offer women a safe and empathetic space where support is not only visible, but tangible, because that's really, really important. If we're going to be traveling all this long distance to get all the way to the halfway across the world, we want women to know that they're going to have their needs met, that they're going to receive a real experience that's going to be meaningful for them. I'm just checking to see if there were any more comments, and I'm saying hello to Jackie for joining us. Thank you so much. And so I want this experience to be customized for women who basically are currently navigating, again, going back to those most difficult challenges and decisions and transitions of their lives and those turning points. When you're in those kind of situations, it's really hard, to go through. And transition looks different for everybody. And so these are basically some of the common areas that maybe some of the women who are going to be joining me on this travel experience may be facing. So for example, women who are making the leap into entrepreneurship or making a career change. Transition may be for some women who are starting or ending their chosen educational career path. That's really a big deal for a lot of women who are doing a traditional educational career path or a non-traditional one, and they need support around that. I've done both, so I understand, and I've done both later in life, so I understand. And then women starting or ending a significant relationship, such as an engagement or a marriage, a workplace relationship, a new role that they're taking on. These are all very common examples of how women experience transition. And so This experience, basically, the registration opened on April 1st. And a few weeks ago, I extended the registration deadline. So there is a $400 deposit, and the registration deadline is going to be at the end of this month on June 30th. So I actually need to type into the comment section the link for where you can learn more about this retreat. So please just give me one moment while I type this in for you. And if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask me. Trying to coordinate here, and I want to say hello to Tandra. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to add them. Even if you're watching the replay, you're welcome to ask questions or add comments. Okay, so I think I have that correct in the comment section, the link for the travel experience. And then also, I mentioned one of my books, Gentle Reminders, Messages of Encouragement for Clarity, Healing, and Breakthrough. Another book that I offer that kind of helps global leaders is called The Unconventional Path, Messages of Encouragement for Entrepreneurs. So I'm going to basically put a link for both of those as well, just in case you might be interested in learning more about how you can purchase the book. I'll just share that also. These are all connected to the message of finding your bliss. So just give me one moment, and the book is available on Amazon, so feel free to check that out. Sorry, please just give me one more moment as I type in this other link. So does anyone have any questions about what I shared about finding your bliss? I hope that it has made a little bit of sense. I hope that even if you still have questions, feel free to reach out to me later. And again, the comment section is always open for anyone who wants to just add additional comments. Just checking to see if there's anything else that I may have forgotten to mention. So again, let me read one more time the quote from my book about what I really kind of use as a working definition for finding your bliss. That your bliss is the location within your consciousness that speaks supernatural peace and contentment to your spirit. This is a mindset management principle. It's also a lifestyle management principle. So finding your bliss is about managing the now, managing the current, so that your mind is not racing into a future that hasn't happened yet. And that usually happens when we go through things like anxiety and stress and worry. I want to read a comment by Dana, which says, "How much is the whole trip and how long is the trip? I've always loved your take on finding your bliss." Thank you so much, Dana. I really do appreciate that. So this travel experience is $2,795. Now, when you go to my website, the link is somewhere up there in the comment section. When you click on www.travelingencourager.com/escape to Kenya, it'll give you a breakdown of what that cost includes and what it doesn't include. So I do want to make sure you have a chance to read through that, but I will let you know that the $2,795 does not include airfare. It doesn't include your passport fees, your visa fees, your souvenirs, personal effects, things like that. But it does have the accommodations and the 3 meals per day. Of course, this experience doesn't have a cost to it. That's included. And it lasts for 12 days. So it's from March 3rd through the 15th, 2020. So I would love for you to just check out the link so that you can get the detailed information. I'm not able to ramble it off all off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll forget something, but hopefully that will give you the basics. And if that's not enough, please do feel free to ask another question, Dana, because I will answer it for you. I could always go to the link right now, but it's okay. Just let me know, and you can reach out to me personally if you would like. If you want to send me an email, you can send it to info@thetravelingencourager.com, and I will respond to that. But there's also a link on my website where you can actually sign up for a phone chat with me, because what I've been doing is spending time basically having a conversation with women so that they can decide whether or not this is really the right fit for them. And we can do that through a phone chat a lot better than, just going back and forth on email, which email is fine too, but I really like the personal connection. And so if you go to my site and scroll down, you will find a link to my calendar. And that way you can sign up for an appointment. And please do let me know if you have trouble finding that and things like that. Are there any other questions? Did that answer your question, Dana? If not, please let me know. And are there any other questions about either the travel experience in Kenya or this concept of finding your bliss? And thank you again, Dana, for your comments and question. I do appreciate it. I didn't want to stay on too long because I probably will be coming back a little bit later, maybe next week sometime, to kind of share a little bit more about the travel experience. But please do once again go to my website and find out more information there, www.thetravelingencourager.com/escape to Kenya. So I'm just going to check to see if there's any more questions or comments. I don't see any currently. So what I will probably do is just go ahead and wrap up. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate everyone that is watching live, as well as anyone who is watching the replay. Feel free to reach out to me if you're already connected with me on Facebook. Feel free to reach out to me privately on Messenger, or you can send me an email. That email is on my website, and just feel free to offer any feedback that you may have, especially if you're interested in this travel experience, because I really want to make sure that all of your questions and concerns are answered. It is quite an investment of time and finances, and so I know that it may be something that you're considering, but you just have, you need a little bit of push in terms of understanding exactly what we're going to be offering during this travel experience. So again, the price that's quoted on the site, it will give you a list of everything that's included and everything that's not included. But one of the main things to keep in mind, that that price does not include your airfare or your visa fees and that type of thing, your passport, which most people already have that. And if not, you can still have plenty of time to get one. But make sure you take some time to read through that there on the site. And if all of your questions aren't answered once reading through that, then feel free to reach out to me directly. Thank you again. I love you all, and I just wish you so many blessings as you enjoy the rest of your weekend. So I'll be talking to all of you again in the near future, and please do take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.